Welcome to Sports Night in Auburn. I am Alexa Johnsen.
And I'm Vince Wolfram. We've got a lot in store for you guys tonight. Equestrian and men's swim and dive had a big weekend. Auburn baseball got back in the win column, and a March Madness update that you will not want to miss. All this and much more tonight on Sports Night in Auburn.
Starting with the biggest news from the weekend, Auburn Equestrian won their 5th straight SEC title. The top-seeded Tigers took down number 4 South Carolina on Friday, 13-7, to advance to the finals. Then on Saturday, the team defeated number 2 Texas A&M to claim the conference title.
Senior Olivia Tordoff was placed on the SEC All-Championship team after going 2-0-0 in horsemanship. Fifth-year Emma Kurtz, senior Ava Stearns, and junior Ellie Ferrigno all went undefeated in jumping seat action for the Orange and Blue. In the championship meet, the Tigers claimed 3 Most Outstanding Performer awards. Kurtz took fences, Ferrigno took flat, and junior Madison Purdon won her first MOP of the season in horsemanship. Next up for the equestrian team is the 2023 NCAA Championship that will be held April 13th to the 15th in Ocala, Florida. Auburn will serve as the host.
Joining in the success this weekend was Auburn men's swim and dive squad. The men took a trip to Minneapolis, Minnesota for the NCAA championship this past weekend and finished in 9th place. In just his 2nd season on the Plains, head coach Ryan Wocho-Murka catapulted Auburn back into a top 10 program, as the Tigers have not finished in the top 10 since 2016.
Many program records were set this week. Aiden Stoffel, Reed Makuta, Nate Stoffel, and Callie Makinen kicked off the meet with a 1-minute 22.67 second 200 medley relay. This marked the 3rd fastest swim in program history and earned the boys a 9th place finish. Then, after breaking the record in the 800 free relay a month ago, Michael Bonson, Ryan Husband, Mason Matthias, and Danny Schmidt reset the record with a 6:11.64 finish, earning them 8th place.
That's amazing. Well, that's what we want to see. Junior Reed Makuta snagged 10th place overall in the 100 breast and with a time of 51.06. This feat also earned him an All-American honorable mention. Coach Wocho-Murka and company concluded the championship with 28 All-American honors from 12 respective athletes, the most since 2017, and 3 school records were set.
Reeling them in. Auburn Gymnastics is preparing to leave for Los Angeles, California this weekend for the 2023 NCAA Regionals. The action kicks off tomorrow afternoon when the number 3 seeded Tigers will take on number 2 Utah and unranked Southern Utah and Washington. The session directly following will feature number 1 seed and host UCLA, number 4 seed Missouri, and Stanford. Only the top 2 teams from each of the 2 sessions will move on to the finals on Saturday.
From there, only 2 teams from the final session will move on to compete at the 2023 NCAA Championship in Fort Worth, Texas. So it will be a tough feat if the Tigers want to return back this year. When we come back, we'll dive into baseball, softball, golf, and tennis. You're watching Sports Night in Auburn.
Welcome back to Sports Night in Auburn. Auburn baseball got back into their winning ways after being swept by Arkansas last week. The Orange and Blue hosted Georgia for a 3-game series and clinched the series, winning Thursday's game 7-6 and Friday's game 6-3. The Tigers did not sweep the series, however, falling to the Bulldogs on Saturday 24-7. Eagle Eye's Kegan Miller was at Thursday night's game, and here is his coverage from the matchup.
Auburn, Georgia, Thursday night, game 1. Down 3-0 in the bottom of the 4th. Ike Irish puts the Tigers on board with this RBI double, scoring Cole Foster from second. Kegan Green scratches another run with his first bomb of the season over the high left field wall. An electrifying moment for the second baseman and his Auburn Tigers. Down 4-2. Beware of Bryson Ware as he sends this one forward over the wall in left field. Down 3 in the bottom of the ninth. An outlet over for the Tigers. But Casey House says you got to earn this win as he hits a double off the wall in left field, giving the Tigers a much needed runner in scoring position and their final chance. Bryson Ware gets 2 of those runs back with a huge RBI double down the right field line, bringing the game 6-5 with 2 outs in the bottom of the ninth. Justin Curry puts a ball in play to the left side. crucial throwing error by the Georgia defense, allowing Auburn to tie the game at 6 apiece. Now coming off the bench in the bottom of the 11th, Cooper McMurray gets a huge pinch hit for the Auburn Tigers, putting runners on both corners. Cooper McMurray hyping up the crowd as they have never been louder in this park. After walking the bases loaded, Carter Ray takes 4 straight balls, walking the game off with the walk. Unbelievable scene in Blaisdell Park and an unbelievable crowd. Now, on to your 9 Tiger Punch-Outs, brought to you by starter Tommy Vale and reliever Will Cannon. With ABLS Sports, I'm Kegan.
Friday night was the 9th comeback win of the season for the Tigers. Entering the 6th, Auburn was trailing 3-1, but Justin Kirby's 3-run home run set the momentum and the Tigers took the lead. Auburn's pitching core was also a key piece of the puzzle. John Armstrong pitched 2.2 scoreless innings, and Chase Isbell entered the game in the 9th to record the final 3 outs. In the series finale, the Tigers managed to close the score gap from 8-2 to 8-7, but in the 8th, the Bulldogs ran away with the game, literally. Georgia scored 16 times, denying Auburn of a series sweep.
Then last night, led by freshman lefty Drew Nelson, who pitched the entire game, the Tigers got a statement 14-1 win over North Alabama in Plainsman Park. Next up for Butch and company is a road trip to Gainesville for a 3-game series against the Florida Gators.
Jumping to the other diamond on the Plains, Auburn softball swept Missouri in a 3-game series at Jane B. Moore this weekend. The number 21 Tigers won both games in Saturday's doubleheader, the first 4-0 and the second 2-1. Maddie Penta tossed a complete game shutout and tied not only her career high, but tied the program record for strikeouts in an SEC game with 17.
There you go. In Monday night's series finale, a walk-off from Denver Bryant secured a 2-1 victory over Mizzou, Auburn's first series sweep over Missouri in school history. This is also the first sweep of the 2023 SEC slate for the Tigers. Auburn softball now improves to 25-9 on the season and 4-2 in SEC play. The girls are in Birmingham tonight for a midweek matchup against Samford.
Auburn women's golf was finally back in action, and because of a final round cancellation, claimed the Liz Murphy Collegiate Classic this weekend. The tournament consisted of 15 other schools. Not only did the Tigers win the team title, but they snagged the individual title as well. Junior Alina Sins, who shot 5 under over 2 days, landed in the first place individual spot.
The girls went into each day with a mindset that the last day had the potential to be canceled due to weather, and as a team, Auburn finished the tournament with a 36-hole score of 563. This win marks the second of the 2022-23 season, and the team has finished top 5 in each of their last 7 tournaments. Additionally, the Tigers have now defeated 8 teams that are ranked in the Golf Stats top 50, including conference foes number 4 South Carolina and number 9 Texas A&M. Up next, the team will be attending the Pine Tree Country Club Women's Collegiate in Kennesaw, Georgia.
Men's tennis had a win and a loss this weekend in their 2 road matchups. First, on Friday, the number 18 Tigers traveled to South Carolina to take on the 4th-ranked Gamecocks. In their first road conference victory of the season, Auburn completed the upset. The Tigers defeated South Carolina 4-3. Trailing 3-1, Auburn came back with 3 consecutive singles wins to clinch the W. One of these wins includes Auburn's senior Tyler Stice defeating the 3rd-ranked singles player in the nation, Toby Samuel.
However, the celebrations ended there. On Sunday, the Tigers traveled to Gainesville to take on the 22nd-ranked Gators, and unfortunately, Auburn fell to Florida 6-1. Up next, number 15 Auburn will host a doubleheader this Sunday at home. The Tigers will take on Vanderbilt at noon and then Alabama A&M at 5.
Jumping over to the women's side, Auburn women's tennis also split their weekend. The 11th-ranked Tigers had 2 ranked matchups at home. Starting off strong, Auburn defeated number 37 LSU 4-3 on Friday. This marked the team's 10th victory on their home court.
Hot at home. And then on Sunday, the Tigers hosted the 2nd-best team in the nation, the Texas A&M Aggies. Sadly, Auburn could not pull off the upset and lost 5-2. But the team looks to travel next to the University of Kentucky to take on the number 51 Wildcats on Friday. And then on Sunday, they're back in action. The 13th-ranked Tigers will take on the 37th-ranked Vanderbilt Commodores in Nashville.
For the first time since concluding their fall season, Auburn soccer saw some action this weekend in an exhibition match against Georgia. And while the Tigers won 3-0, there was a much deeper meaning behind the match. Auburn soccer celebrated Women's History Month by wearing alternate uniforms with the last names of trailblazing women throughout history. Each player chose a woman that personally inspired them and repped their last name during the entirety of the game.
Rosa Parks, Simone Biles, Serena Williams, Pat Summitt, and Amelia Earhart were a few of the women represented during Saturday's game. When we come back, we'll dive into Auburn and the NBA and take a quick look at the March Madness Final Four. You are watching Sports Night in Auburn.
Welcome back to Sports Night in Auburn. This week was a major one for Auburn players in the NBA. 2 players scored career highs, another player secured his team the win, and another continues to dominate. Starting off, on Thursday, Isaac Okoro helped the Cleveland Cavaliers clinch the win. With just under 3 seconds left in the game, Okoro sunk a game-winning three-pointer. As a result, the Cavs defeated the Brooklyn Nets 116-114. Then on Friday night, JT Thor recorded a career high. The Charlotte Hornets forward scored 12 points against the Dallas Mavericks. This is Thor's best scoring night after 2 years in the league.
There you go.
Also reaching a career high, Walker Kessler had himself a night on Saturday.
Yeah, he did.
The rookie scored a career high 31 points with 11 rebounds. He is the first rookie in Utah Jazz history to score more than 30 points and 10 rebounds in a single game.
Breaking records.
Lastly, our other NBA rookie is also dominating. Jabari Smith Jr. has scored double digits in his last 5 games. This includes a 20-point night against the Memphis Grizzlies and a double-double of 14 points and 11 rebounds against the New York Knicks. Let's talk March Madness.
Let's do it.
This past weekend, the Sweet 16 and Elite Games were played, and they were all thrilling games in typical March fashion. Vince, take it away.
There you go. Thanks, Alexa. Let's get right into the action. We will take it to the South region to start because it was upset city. Number 1 Alabama was stunned by 5-seed San Diego State 71-64. SDSU forward Darian Trammell showcased a dominant defensive performance to help his Aztecs knock the Tide out of the tournament in the Sweet 16. Creighton ended fan favorite Princeton's historic run and advanced to play San Diego State in the Elite Eight. That game was so close, all 40 minutes, but due to a shooting foul called with 1.2 seconds left and one very clutch free throw that followed, the San Diego State Aztecs beat Creighton 57-56 to advance to the Final Four. To the East region, Michigan State versus Kansas State was a Madison Square Garden instant classic. Marquise Noel broke the NCAA tournament record for assists in a game with 19, his last 2 on spectacular passes in the last minute of overtime, and Kansas State went on to beat Michigan State 98-93. Who would they face? The Florida Atlantic Owls. After beating Tennessee 62-55 in a nail-biter, the Owls met the Wildcats in the Elite Eight. Elijah Martin and FAU withstood another huge game by Marquise Noel and brushed off a deficit in the final 8 minutes to beat Kansas State 79-76 on Saturday night. On to the Midwest. The last number 1 seed that made their exit in the Sweet 16 as number 5 seed Miami knocked out number 1 Houston 89-75 in a battle that was controlled by the Hurricanes for the majority of the contest. 2-seeded Texas advanced over 3-seeded Xavier by 12 points, which lined up a Texas versus Miami matchup in the Elite Eight. Jordan Miller rallied his Miami Hurricanes from a 13-point second-half deficit for an 88-81 victory over Texas that clinched Jim Larinaga his long-awaited return to the Final Four. Last, but certainly not least, the West region. Knocking out the last standing SEC team was 4-seed UConn as they put the hammer down 88-65 on Arkansas, and then the Sweet 16 nightcap game between Gonzaga and UCLA was a West Coast game for the ages. As an answer to a three-pointer by UCLA's Amari Bailey, Gonzaga's Julian Strother sunk a 3-ball with 7.2 seconds remaining, which lifted the Bulldogs to a wild 79-76 win over the Bruins. The UConn versus Gonzaga Elite Eight game was a highly anticipated one, but it didn't play out as competitive as many believed it would. UConn routed Gonzaga 82-54 for the Huskies' first Final Four trip in 9 years. The Final Four is set for Saturday. Who could have predicted this one? 8-seed Florida Atlantic versus 5-seed San Diego State at 5 p.m. and then 5-seed Miami versus 4-seed UConn at 7:50. It is going to be a blast. Alexa, you got a perfect bracket still or what?
I'm hoping. I'm really thinking that UConn's got this in the bag.
There you go. That's
Let's
the
see.
North in you.
Yeah, it is. It is. That is all we have for you tonight, and make sure to stay up to date with all things Auburn sports by visiting our website, eagleeyeauburn.com, and by following our Twitter at EETV_sports. I'm Alexa Johnson.
And I'm Vince Wolfram. Have a great night, and War Eagle.